So this is a very simple tutorial in Maya to show how to animate a spaceship on a motion path. Motion path animation is a really useful tool, super useful for animating things like birds and fish, and in this case spaceships. So let's get started by going to TurboSquid and finding ourselves some stuff. So here's the TurboSquid website where you can get all kinds of free stuff for animation and visual effects, and I'm going to search for under 3D models. I'm going to search for Cartoon Land, and that's the set I'm going to go for today. There it is. There's the Cartoon Land set. It's a great little set, really useful for animation. We can create a little village really quickly and simply, and it's just great for doing animation. I really like it and I use it all the time. So you can download that and get started. We're also going to need a spaceship. So let's search for UFO. There we go. And again, we want to sort by lower prices because we want the free ones, and then we can download any one of these spaceships. They'll all be totally fine, so we can just download one of those. So I've now opened up a folder in Windows, or a Windows window as it were, to go to Documents, Maya Projects, and I need to create a Maya project. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So in Maya, I'm going to go File. I'm just going to tear this off so you can see what I'm doing. File, Project Window, and I'm going to call this New, and I'm going to call it UFO. And I'm going to put down actually UFO motion path, because that's the principle we're doing today, underscore today's date, which is the 6th of March 2024. There we go. And then having done that, I'm going to go ahead and set to that project. There we go, UFO motion path. Okay. So now we've got to get our assets into that folder. So back to our Windows window, and I'm going to go to UFO motion path, and in the scenes folder I want to deposit both the UFO and also Cartoon Land. So there we go. In my scenes folder in Maya, in my project, I've now got Cartoon Land and the UFO in that folder. So now I can go back to Maya and I can import those things into my shot. So let's first of all import the Cartoon Land. There we go. So now I've got Cartoon Land in my scene, and then once I've done that, I can go ahead and import the UFO file. It doesn't really matter which one you use. Here we go. I found a mb.maya file. There we go. So there's my UFO. So if I go into the outliner, Windows outliner, I will find some stuff in my shot. Now I'm just gonna I don't need the Cartoon Land shot can. Well, I suppose I could keep it, but probably not, because I'm probably just going to create my own shot camera. So let's delete that, and then let's delete the sun, and let's delete the let's see, there's our UFO. Great. And I probably also want to make my UFO a little bit bigger because it's a bit small, so I'm probably going to scale that up. It's got a light underneath. I'm not sure exactly what that does, but I'm going to scale that up to, let's see, 5 times. Yeah, that's a bit big actually. Let's take it down to 4. Okay, great. And now let's go ahead, so we've got our UFO. So now let's create a shot camera. Let's create the angle that we want the audience to see. So I'm going to go to Create Cameras Camera, and what happened to that? Let's go to the outliner. There it is, Camera 1. So let's call that Shot Camera, which is your standard industry naming convention. No spaces in Maya. So Shot Camera with a capital C. Then I can go Panels, Look Through Selected. And now I can zoom out, and there's my spaceship in the street. So I'm going to set up my street something like I want to kind of a street view of my spaceship coming in. Let's turn on the resolution gate. That's this little guy up here. And that's going to give me standard resolution gate. So I want to be down on the ground, right? Because this thing is going to come in and scare me. And I probably want to do a little bit of set design. It's looking a little blank around there. So I'm probably going to want to move a few things around. We want to be in the standard animation view. So that's panels, layouts, 3-pane split top, shot camera over in there on the right, which I'm just going to lock off by clicking on the lock camera button, and then the perspective view on the left. So, and then underneath, I want the graph editor. So panels, panel, graph editor underneath. There we go. Now over here in the perspective view, I'm going to want to move some stuff around, and I've got a few bits and pieces here that I don't know what all of those are about. But maybe, you know, I might want to move some trees around, maybe move the circus tent, some other stuff. So I'll just do that, but I won't do that, as it were, in real time. I'll just move this around and not take up your time on this particular part of the tutorial. Okay, so there we go. So I've done a little bit of set design, not as much as I'd like to do, but just to speed things along. And I'm now going to lock off my camera. So to do that, I go to the lock camera button up there. I'm also just going to turn on two-sided lighting, so I just get a slightly nicer look there. And now we want to create a motion path for our UFO to fly down. So what we do is hit the space bar, and we're going to go to the orthographic top view. So that's panels, orthographic, top. And now if I zoom out, if Maya will let me. So I've actually gone to panels, orthographic, new, top. Panels, orthographic, new, top, which seems to allow me to zoom out. The other one doesn't. I don't know why. So I zoom out, and that's my orthographic top view. And so I've got to create a essentially a series of, let's say, if I select the UFO and move it back in space there we go, so something like there. So we want it to come down the street towards us, and there's our house there. So what we want to do is make sure that in this view we've got I've actually got everything turned on in this view for now, but we definitely want NURBS curves and NURBS CVs and NURBS surfaces turned on, so which we have. So I can just close that window out, and then I'm going to go create curve tools, CV curve tool, and then I'm just going to create a series of curves going, CV curves going down the street towards the house where my camera is. And once I've done that, I just go enter, and that will create a curve. And if I go back to my camera view, I can lift that curve off the ground, and that's going to be my curve that I'm going to attach the UFO to. So in the view over here, I go back to the perspective view, and there's my curve, and I select the curve, make sure the curve's selected, it's called curve 1, right click and go control vertex. And now I can select all these vertices that I've created. Whoops, let's actually, let's go back to that, back to the curve, control vertex. There we go, I've selected it correctly now. And I can lift that off the ground so that I keep selecting the background. Right, so the reason for that, what I really need to do is put the background in a separate layer. So let's just go ahead and do that. So layers, create empty layer. Actually, no, we don't need to do that. I'll just delete that because we've already got a cartoon land layer. So let's delete that one as well. And then let's just go to, let's just call this, double click on that and call that cartoon land layer. There we go. And then let's go to Windows Outliner. select all the cartoon land stuff and go right click, lock selected, right click, add selected objects, and then we can just turn the visibility button off there. And now we've not got our layer anymore. So now I can select that curve again, go right click to control vertex, and I can select it without mistakenly selecting anything else. And I can move those vertices around until I get the kind of shape that I want. Something like that. And now, once I've done that, I can go back to object mode by right-clicking it, and I can turn my set back on. And now I can go ahead and attach the UFO to the to the control curve. So to do that, I want to be in the animation menu, and I want to be under in constrain. Actually, do I? Yes, I do. So I'm going to select the UFO. Then let's turn off Cartoon Land again. Shift select the control curve. So now they're both selected. Then go constrain, motion paths, attach to motion path, options box. That's just out of the screen. You can't see it, but I'm clicking on the options box. Then we want to make sure that the front axis is in X. I think that's correct. What up axis is in Y. It's round, so it won't make any difference what the front axis is. Add a little bit of bank and then click apply. And that should give us a except that it didn't. That's annoying. I wonder why. Let's try that again. So I'm just taking a look at the UFO in the outliner, and I'm just going to use my middle mouse drag to drag the UFO out of the group that it's in, and then I'm just going to go ahead and delete everything because we actually only need the UFO body. So now that may be what's causing us the trouble. So I'm just going to minimize that. Try that again. Sometimes simple is best. So select the UFO, shift select the curve, and then go constrain, motion paths, attach to motion path. Okay, and now it works. So I'm just going to, now it creates a curve for us. So let's just turn on Cartoon Land, and now we've got our UFO, and it should be flying down that curve into view. Now, our shot is far too long, so we actually we want it to be around about, let's say about 99 frames. So in order to make it the right length, I'm going to just tweak that a little bit. So I'm just going to hit Z a few times until we unattach the UFO, and I'm just going to do it again slightly more selectively. So shift select the motion path, and then go constrain, motion paths, attach to motion path, options box, but let's be a little more specific this time. Let's click on start and end, and let's make sure that the start time is 1 and the end time is 99. And then let's make sure we've got the same down there in our timeline at the bottom. And then let's go ahead and apply it. And that should do just fine. So now if I go back to our shot camera, turn on Cartoon Land, we should have our UFO land in front of us. Now we can change the shape of that curve by taking the UFO body. We can select this curve and we can change the shape of that so that it starts off fast and then slows down, something like this. And if we want to change the way that the UFO moves, all we have to do is move those CV curves around. For example, we can have it start off much higher. Whoops. So let's just turn on the Cartoon Land layer. And in actual fact, let's put the UFO on a layer as well. So layers create empty layer. We call that UFO layer. And let's go to Windows Outliner, select the UFO, add it to the layer, turn it off. Now we've got our control curve back. I can right click on that, go back to control vertex, and I can lift this up so that the UFO starts off higher, so it has more of a kind of swooping down motion. And I can check that against the beginning, against the camera view. There we go, back to object mode, turn everything back on again, and now that UFO should swoop in down from above. We could also add a rotation on it, have it move around, but it's very, obviously this is a very simple, straightforward animation, but you can see how useful this is for animating a flying object. It's really, really useful for animating anything in motion in 3D space, so spaceships. It's also great for things like fish underwater. Let's say you're animating a shark, anything like that. So that is motion path animation.